Phobia. It's a word that's pretty well known and used commonly today. It's a fear, a really, really bad fear. It's often debilitating and irrational, but it's there. There's some common phobias. Like the fear of snakes or the fear of spiders. I have a friend with the snake phobia. She can't even look at a picture of a snake, or she closes up. And I have another friend who has a phobia of spiders, and once she couldn't even walk to the car from the house, a distance of maybe 3 feet, because there's a small spider in her pathway. A picture of a snake can't hurt you. Neither can a small spider. You can just step on it. The people with these phobias realize that they're completely irrational, but knowing that something's irrational doesn't make it go away. Their minds trick them, make them believe something that's not true. When I was young, I also had a phobia. I had a phobia of talking. I wasn't afraid of talking at home. When I was comfortable, it was okay. I screamed at my cousins and I yelled at my sister. My dad always joked about that. But when I got to school, I couldn't even answer a question when the teacher called on me. It was never that I didn't know the answer. Half the time the question would be, "What's your name?" And I knew the answer to that.
I would ask you a question. Instead of answering me, you would tap and you would point, and you wouldn't talk.
I didn't know it then, but I know now that there's a disorder, a social anxiety disorder often found in childhood called selective mutism. It occurs when a child has a literal phobia of talking. At home, when the child's comfortable, it's completely okay. But at school or a situation that's social, that makes a child uncomfortable, they'll close up, look at their feet, bring their shoulders in. They won't be able to talk, answer a simple question.
I'll tell you, you were seemingly more than you were normal at home. You would just play and do all things, anything you wanted to do.
To my close friends and family, and in relationships where I was comfortable, I'm sure it was incredibly frustrating when I could not speak in public, especially when they knew that I was fully capable of speaking at home.
Well, a lot of times you wouldn't answer. You would point, and I think I used to get on to you a little bit because you would even see people or pass people, and they would wave or say, "Hey, Lindsay," and you would just kind of do your hand up and put your head down, and not even speak to them. And I remember that was an issue I had.
People think, well, what's wrong with her, and all, but it was frustrating, the fact that for you two, and
I would get frustrated that I knew you and you would talk to me, but you wouldn't talk to them. I was like, why can't you just talk to them? This can all be natural and normal and not awkward. If you just be yourself around them, they're gonna love you too. And you could, I didn't realize that you can be yourself instead of you have to. Because I knew you and I loved you and saw your potential, and so my frustration came from seeing that you had this potential to form those relationships and speak to those people, but you weren't, and you were held back by it. But I didn't really know why yet.
It's really hard to understand a disorder like selective mutism, or any anxiety really, unless you experience it yourself. See, I've tried to tell people about it before and they get frustrated. They think it's silly. But I'm going to do my best to describe to you what it's like to have this. See, it starts out pretty normal. I'm walking somewhere. There's people around, maybe a park. And I start to see everything going on, and suddenly everything seems out of focus. And then I see someone. And they bend down, they're nice, they're kind, they're not going to hurt me, and I know that. And they ask me a question. What's your name? They look me in the eyes, and everything's out of focus, and it's blurry for a second, and then it goes back into focus. And I realize I've been asked a question. But suddenly it feels as if my throat has tightened, like there's plastic wrap or tape maybe wrapped around my throat, around my mouth. And I can't get the words out. And the person asks again, they say, "Speak up. What's your name?"
Yeah.
thought they were making my condition better who were actually harming it. By forcing me to speak up in front of people or punishing me with grades or some other method, they really only made it more scary to talk.
He called your name and you said here, but like everybody else could hear, and he could hear because you were sitting like right in front of him, but everybody else was in the back that were being like noisy. And he pretended that he didn't hear you just to mess with you, to get you to speak up and say your name again. And I just turned around because he asked you to repeat it and I didn't know where you were. I didn't know you were so close to him actually sitting there. And I saw you like pipe up and then sit back down real quick, and then you went down the line calling the rest of the names.
Your second grade teacher, I remember that was probably, you made all A's in her class, but I think there was one time you got a B, I think it was in participation or something like that.
And the teacher pointed her finger and said, "You are not going to get an A, you will get a B, simply because you did not talk."
And it was all because of you not speaking up when you needed to.
I finally got over my phobia, but it wasn't until long into high school. In fact, I think before I really got comfortable talking in public, I was at least 17, maybe 18. I think the real fix was because I had a friend. Her name is Bibi, and she's in some of these interviews.
I think at least the first couple years of high school, it was just very simply like us becoming friends, and to me, like, you were quiet and shy, and I wanted to like help you get over that, because that's like a lot of the things my dad has taught me too, to always like make sure people are comfortable and to not be shy, to like not be afraid to talk and like express yourself. So that was just very simple in my mind. Like, I wanted to help you come out of shyness, but not like I was like thinking about it or trying. And like I just enjoyed our friendship.
Bibi was unlike any of my teachers in the past, any of my other friendships with kids when they were younger, who always made me feel weird for not talking or made me feel like I had to talk. In social situations, Bibi never made me feel like I had to talk, that it was absolutely necessary, but she let me know that I could, and that people wanted to hear my voice.